The situation in the state of Manipur in the northeast of India is serious. Since May, in demonstrations between two population groups, the mainly Hindu Meitei and the mainly Christian Kuki, over 120 people were killed. Over 50,000 people are fleeing. Over 250 churches, theological institutions, Christian schools and hospitals have been burnt down without the perpetrators being prevented by the local authorities. We call on the Indian government to do everything to restore order, to bring the perpetrators to justice and to stop excessive violence. We wouldn't like to wag fingers at anybody from here, but with this resolution from the European Parliament, we call on the most populous democracy in the right just to do what it is duty-bound to do in its constitution, to maintain religious freedom also for Christians in Manipur.
In Manipur, in northeast India, violence has claimed more than 120 victims over 2 months. 120 people killed, 1,700 houses have been destroyed, 250 churches, not just one or two churches, 250 churches, and 40,000 people are displaced because they've run away from the violence to save their skins. This is a dramatic situation. We have to do everything possible to end the violence. Since he entered power in 2014, Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, has been implementing a radical nationalist Hindu policy, which has had terrible consequences. Journalists, religious minorities, and human rights fighters. He always says that he is an heir to Mahatma Gandhi. We all admire. He takes meditation time. He created a World Yoga Day. He seems kind and well-meaning, but in India, millions of Muslims and Christians suffer every single day because the government violates their most fundamental rights. The situation is serious. That's why the European Parliament must vote tomorrow on a very clear resolution. It has to be clear.
When we discuss India, often we are talking about trade opportunities. Unfortunately, today we're here to talk about human rights, about the situation in Manipur, where we have seen ethnic clashes taking on an increasing religious dimension. The events of the last 10 weeks are tragic. 120 lives lost, 50,000 people displaced, 250 churches destroyed. Unfortunately, this is not an isolated incident across India. Those who are not Hindu, in particular Christians, are facing growing intolerance, violence, humiliation, discrimination. We're seeing this in anti-conversion laws in different federal states. Our joint resolution is crystal clear. We are calling on India to do everything within its power to end ethnic and religious violence, to punish perpetrators, and end Hindu extremism. Without ironclad guarantees in this area, then we cannot talk about a new trade agreement with India.
The situation in Manipur is deeply concerning. Since May, tensions between the mainly Hindu, Meitei and mainly Christian Kuki communities have escalated to the most violent clashes in decades. Over 140 people have lost their lives, tens of thousands are displaced, and private and public property has been destroyed. Despite the gravity of the situation, authorities are not taking sufficient action and fostering peace dialogues, while the Manipur Tribal Forum's plea for protection of the Kuki tribe by the Indian Army has been rejected by the Supreme Court. We therefore urge all parties to cease hostilities and resolve the underlying regional and religious issues. The EU and its member states should collaborate with like-minded countries and organisations to assess possible further steps and continue to raise human rights and especially religious freedom concerns with the Indian authorities.